Hey everybody, ronarray here, and Path of Exile 2 just started. I've been playing it for almost 2 days right now, and updated my build cast on critical and cast on CoC Invoker Monk. So generally, in this video, I wanted to share all my findings and all changes to the build that I pretty much made based on my experience, so you could use it and have a better experience too. I'm also going to address what you need to do if you just started the game and what gems you will need to use at exactly the start. So check out dedicated timestamp. However, if you already progressed a little, I'm going to cover what you will need to use right now. Let's go. So for now, build feels pretty strong, and I just want to showcase a few important changes. And the first important change is the idea that we are changing Ball Lightning to another skill. I tested Ball Lightning and I'm completely unhappy with the damage that Ball Lightning is doing. So instead, for cast on shock, I decided to pick Comet right here. Comet is doing tremendous amount of cold damage and is going to carry us at almost all situations. We can pair it with cast on shock, and since we are shocking pretty consistently, we are going to spawn a lot of comets. You can see it in the gameplay to the right. Right now, together with Comet, I'm using Spellico because that way we are dropping 2 comets instead of 1. It's losing cast speed, but it's not really that important. And on top of it, we can use concentrated effect. That way we are going to deal significantly more damage. We are losing some area of effect, but we are compensating that area with Spellico. So those 2 gems are compensating each other in terms of area of effect. However, we are getting additional damage. So supports for Comet is Spellico and Concentrated. When we'll have one more, I think we could add something like Inevitable Critical, for example, to make sure that our Comet is critting. And moving forward, Cast on Shock been working very good for me. But the most important question is what we need to do to deliver those shocks. And right here, right now, I want to comment on the gems that I'm using for it. So for the farming general locations, I'm using Storm Wave. I think Storm Wave is working very good for it. We can get 80% of physical damage to lightning damage, and it's working very good right now. And as supports, we can use Lightning Infusion together with Martial Tempo and Conduction. However, moving forward, I don't think that Storm Wave working very good against bosses. So against bosses, in the most cases, I'm using Tempest Flurry right here. So for Tempest Flurry, we just need to repick all the same supports, so I'm just moving them over here. And right now, I'm ready to fight the boss. At the boss, I'm also going to use Tempest Bell, so Tempest Bell plus Tempest Fury are working so good. The rest of the setup is staying the same, so you don't need to change anything else. While you're fighting the location, I'm just putting gems like that. I'm fighting the location with Storm Wave. But when I'm coming to the boss, I'm moving those gems into the Tempest Flurry setup, and I'm playing with Tempest Flurry and using the Tempest Bell. However, if for some reason you don't want to repick or you want to stay ranged even at the bosses, you can keep using Storm Wave in that regard. Because Storm Wave is a very strong skill and it's going to carry you just basically through almost all content. So supports are always staying the same, it's Lightning Infusion, it's Martial Tempo and Conduction. Talking about the rest of setup, I am currently using Blasphemy together with Infable and Clarity. I think Clarity is helping significantly with mana, so if you have 10 additional Spirit and you're already using Blasphemy, you can add it right here. We need at least 60 Spirit for cast on Shock, and on top of it we need 60 more for Blasphemy and Enfeeble. I think it's boosting survivability significantly. However, if you don't have Blasphemy or just don't have enough Spirit, you can use Ghost Dance. Ghost Dance would cost only 30 Spirit and you can still add Clarity on top, it will be 40 at the end. So how we are getting that amount of Spirit? You currently need to take 30 plus 30 Spirit from the bosses. However, it's recommended to get some on your items. I'm having 37 Spirit on my amulet, and I'm also having 40 Spirit on my body armor. That helps a lot, and that way I can pretty much use my auras. However, it's very important to notice that I'm not taking Lead Me Through Grace passive point right here, because it's going to give me cannot gain spirit from equipment. So I recommend to not take it at least until you will be able to find a body armor with a huge energy shield and evasion rating, because that way it will provide you with enough spirit to pretty much use your skills. Going back to the setup except of blasphemy, I also have conductivity, and sometimes when I'm feeling like I need additional damage at the boss, I'm replacing Infable with conductivity to pretty much boost my damage. I'm also using Orb of Storms together with Overabundance. And another very important part, since Orb of Storms can shock, we can pretty much use Uncut Support Gem level 3 to get exposure. We can get lightning exposure to boost our damage with our main skill, or theoretically we could even get cold exposure, but for that we need to do critical hit with cold damage, and it's not really stacking well with Orb of Storms. So currently for Orb of Storms we can just run lightning exposure, because it's providing some damages, so you can engrave it and you can add it. It's going to give you a little additional damage for your main skill, so for Storm Wave or for Tempest Flurry. Bell is also pretty important at bosses, so try to always use it, and supports here are Blind and Ruthless for more stun. I think both of them are pretty basic, and you could even run Bell without any support at all. It's still going to boost your damage tremendously. And Cast on Shock by itself is working very good, but please remember, if you are using Cast on Shock, you will absolutely need to run Conduction, because Conduction is going to give you more chance to shock, and that way you will feel significantly better. Now let's talk about the tree. The tree itself is very simple, and at the start I'm still going the same way. I'm taking Mystic Stance, I'm taking Mindful Awareness, and Basic Nose right here. After it, I'm going to the right. I'm taking Conservative Casting and Spellblade, because Spellblade is going to increase damage of our Comet. Always take it. I'm always taking Tenfold attacks because it's giving attack speed and a little STR on top. And after that I'm passing to the right and I'm taking General Electric because we need to increase the chance to shock to make sure that we are constantly shocking our enemies. So I'm taking all chance to shock Little Nose right here, and after that I'm always going to the right. So here we will need to take Dynamism because it's going to give us 40% increased damage if you trigger the skill recently. However, please keep in mind that you need to start taking those bonuses for meta skills only when you will have Cast on Shock activated. So if you don't have Cast on Shock activated, just go for Tenfold attacks first or for Killing Instinct first. You can also get additional bonuses such as Essence of the Mountain, for example, and re-pick it later. However, after you picked it, you can also go to the right, pick Endless Circuit. I think Endless Circuit is very important and it can give us significantly better approach to the shock, especially on bosses. And you can also get additional bonuses for lightning damage, but since we are doing huge damage from Comet, it's not really that important. We are mostly taking those lightning bonuses temporary because we currently need as much lightning damage as possible to inflict shock consistently. After that we're also going up and taking Energize because it's absolutely amazing. Sometimes it will give you an opportunity to literally spawn like 4 or even 6 Comet in a row. And we're also taking Invocated Efficiency. It's helping with the recovery in mana, and it's also giving additional spell damage, so it's working very good. When talking about mana, we're taking Conservative Casting because reduced mana cost of skills is pretty important, so is mana regeneration. And after that part is finished, I started to go to the left here and trying to take Potent Incantation, because that way we can get additional spell damage and reduce cast speed is not really damaging us heavily. As additional points, we can always go for additional energy shield here and mana. You can also take some crits, so taking critical damage here and here and here. It's especially going to work very good when we will get the last support and we will be able to buff our Comet with inevitable critical, because that way we are going to do significantly more damage. Otherwise the tree is very simple. However, keep in mind when you don't have meta skill, so you don't have cast on shock, just go for attack damage, take Killer Instinct, take 10 full attack, and you can also invest into small attack damage nodes here. I also wanted to showcase my stats right here, so it will be easier for you to understand what's happening. I have pretty alright STR, I have a pretty decent dexterity, and I invested heavily into intelligence. I have a lot of mana, not a lot of energy shield, which is not good, and pretty decent amount of health. And also I have a lot of spirit, so I have exactly as much as I need to use all my auras. My resistances are not that good, especially fire, but my lightning is a lot because I just fought the boss that deal a lot of lightning damage. So most of the time I'm repicking my rings based on what kind of damage monsters are doing. Try to do the same. And look at my items, so here's my quarterstaff, I think it's a pretty good one. You need a lot of physical damage or lightning damage, both of them are working perfectly. Or attack speed, for example. Plus 2 melee skill gems is going to work just fine as well. At the gloves, we're just looking for life and some resistances, nothing else. Try to get intelligence at random items across your build. I have very good amulet, you can get spirit here, level of all melee skill gems, and attributes, all of that are very good. The only thing it's missing from it, that amulet, it's health, but well, I've been unlucky rolling it. And at the rings, I'm just rolling additional intelligence and resistances. So if I need something, I can always replace rings without any kind of issue. For example, if I'm fighting against something for cold damage, I'm going to replace that ring with cold damage, cold resistance ring. At the belt, we just need a lot of life and some mana. Boots is pretty much goes the same, resistances and movement speed. If you can add additional runes, you can buff your resistances with runes, and that would be a very good tip. So try to do that as often as possible. And the same goes for the helmet. If you can get chaos resistance here together with life, it will be just perfect. So at the body armor, you could aim for spirit, even on top of life, because you will need that spirit to cast more auras, and it's pretty important for you being successful. And the last part is the charm. I recommend taking grants immunity to bleeding, because bleeding is annoying. So that's pretty much it in terms of items. And here are my stats. Generally, the build felt very good and pretty strong. Another thing that I want to address right now is what you need to do at early levels. So at early levels, you should start using Fallen Thunder together with Healing Palm. Healing Palm is pretty much finishing off enemies and giving you power charges. After that, you're just using Fallen Thunder and you're receiving significantly more damage from your Fallen Thunder, so keep using those two together. You can also use basic attack and pretty much to deal damage to enemies before you finish them off with Healing Palm and stack your Fallen Thunder. So that's your basic combos that you're using at the start of the game. And after that, you just need to wait for level 5 of gem to get Tempest Flurry. After you got Tempest Flurry, I recommend to play it up until you get Storm Wave. After you will get Storm Wave, you can start playing with Storm Wave and repick for Tempest Flurry only on bosses. So I recommend to use Tempest Flurry together with Bell on bosses, and I recommend to use Storm Wave in almost all other situations. That's what we currently have. And for Cast on Shock, Comet is absolutely the best when you will get it. If you will need some skill because you don't have Comet currently, I recommend to run Arc that way. It's not going to deal that much damage as Comet, but it's still going to be significantly better than almost anything else. And Ball Lightning, which I tested, unfortunately not dealing enough damage, so I think dropping that skill is probably the best idea right here. So that's been update for my Monk build. It's cast on shock right now, and I'm going to keep updating it. If you still have some questions, don't hesitate to join any of my streams and just ask me there. Thank you very much for watching, and ronarray out.